Hey guys and gals, my name is Tony Crabtree with Crabtree Homes and Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. Before I get started, I want to say thanks for subscribing if you're watching on YouTube, and if you could, go ahead and hit that like button and leave a comment or share this. That would tell all the internet world out there that there's value in this content you're watching, and it would be a huge help. Thanks! So here's a question. Are you about to send one of your children off to college? Well, unfortunately, you could be on the verge of making a mistake that could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. No, I'm not saying that sending your daughter or your son to college is a mistake. Just trying to get your attention there a little bit. But what I am talking about is housing. Yes, college housing. The truth is, many parents, my parents included in this, truly want their college-bound son or daughter to move out of the house and have the learning experience of living on their own in the dorms, at least for that first year of college, and then even beyond some. Some parents think, well, I had to suffer through the dorms. Why shouldn't my son or daughter have to do as well? Still, others think this would just be a great learning experience. This would help them learn responsibility, what it means to budget their own time, live with a roommate, those sorts of things. And all of these things are fantastic things to teach your son or daughter whenever they do become 18 or 19 and they're off at college. But here's the point that I'm wanting to drive home here. This strategy is actually draining parents of thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars unnecessarily every year. That's right, if you've done this or you're thinking about doing it, or maybe you have a son or daughter that eventually one day you'd like to send them to college, if you follow this strategy, you are going to be losing so much money. And here's why that's happening, and lastly, we're going to finish up with what you can actually do about it. Alright, let's take my hometown university, which I love, the wonderful Middle Tennessee State University. Go Blue Raiders. I did a little bit of research on the cost of living and what it is there to live in the dorms for 1, 2, 3, even 4 years. So here are the numbers. At MTSU, the yearly August to May cost of the dorm in the least expensive dormitory they have is $5,572. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in. Alright, and that is just your standard, like, shared room, communal bathrooms, typical dorm on campus. There actually were other nicer dorms that I could have chosen for this. They were around the $6,400 for 2 semesters. So this is 2 semesters worth of college. That's just August to May. That doesn't include summer months, so just so you're aware. But essentially, parents believe it's going to cost them about $5,572. In addition to this dorm cost, every student who stays in the dorm is required to then purchase a mandatory meal plan on campus. So what we also have to factor in is what is the cost of this meal plan. When I looked up this amount online for the required cost of a meal plan, it was a whopping $2,100. However, when I went online to kind of look up all that information, it was a little bit deceptive. I'll go ahead and put $2,100 in right here. That cost is actually just for 1 semester. And it is also mandatory that if you're going to be on campus that second semester, you have to purchase another meal plan in January. So we might as well go ahead and multiply that times 2. That comes out to $4,200. So all in all, your food cost for 2 semesters at college with the meal plan is $4,200. Okay, so let's add that to the dorm cost, and you will spend $9,772 on living costs for your son or daughter for them to have that experience that you wanted them to have. Again, nearly 10 grand, not including June or July, to send your kid to live on campus. Now, if you need to do that for 4 years of college, then you're also going to need to multiply that times 4. So let's multiply that times 4, and you're going to end up with a total that comes out to $39,000. I have it written down over here, and $88. That's nearly 40 grand, and that's just if these costs stay the same. That's without them inflating year to year, which you know is going to happen. So for future purposes of this video, we're going to go ahead and round that up to $40,000. If you happen to know what the cost is for UT or another larger campus nearby, please leave a comment. I would love to know how MTSU stacks up, but for the case of what we're talking about, let's just use MTSU as being kind of a baseline for what a parent should expect to literally throw away in money for 4 years of college if your kid is going to live on campus. Yeah, so that's the difficult news. Are you currently losing nearly $40,000 for 4 years to send your kid away to school? Is that somebody that you know, or are you or a friend on the verge of some of these big decisions right now? I don't know if this is kind of where you're headed, but I do know that I have a solution and an alternative plan that could not only keep you from losing $40,000, but actually could put more money back in your pocket when it's all said and done with. So here it is. All right, now my hope in explaining some of this to you is that by the time we get to the end of this, you may be thinking, hey, that actually is kind of smart. Now, up front, I will also acknowledge that this may not be for everyone. If you'll bear with me though, I think you'll really see that it makes sense. I'm actually proposing that if you're sending your son or daughter away to college, why not actually purchase an investment property? No, I'm not talking about giving them the gift of real estate. I don't want you to buy a house for your child. But what I am talking about is you and your spouse buying an investment property in the town that they'll be attending school. Have them live there, have them get some roommates who will pay monthly rent, maybe make your child get a job and pay a little bit of rent themselves, maybe not, but at least you have the option. And then at least those roommates pay for that mortgage every month. And you avoid the heavy cost of throwing money away to the campus dorms every year. So if you like what I'm saying, let's look at the numbers and let's see if this actually plays out as we kind of dissect everything. Let's say, for instance, you find a house that's near the university for around, let's say, $160,000. All right. Now, this would be difficult right now in Murfreesboro, but could perhaps be done if considering townhomes or maybe even by something like a fixer-upper that is a little bit outdated. Now, I'm pretty sure this would be achievable in Knoxville if you're going to UT Knoxville, but someone call me out if I'm wrong on that. So, anyway. Now, I want you to go back and think about that original $40,000 that we were just throwing away. Instead of throwing that away to MTSU's dorms, you're actually going to invest that, and that's going to become your down payment. So, $40,000 is about what you may be needing for a down payment. Take note that with an investment property, you'll likely need to put down 25% to secure a 30-year loan. Unless you're willing to do some sort of an adjustable rate mortgage, then you could get away with maybe 15% down, but for our purposes, let's just use the model of 25% down, or in this case, 40 grand to put into your down payment of a home. Now, the note on this $160,000 home is probably going to be around, give or take a little bit, $850 per month. All right, that's after taxes, insurance, and keep in mind the mortgage rate on an investment property is usually at least 1 percentage point higher than a typical primary residence. But nonetheless, you have a monthly mortgage cost of $850 per month. Now, let's bring in 2 roommates. Let's charge them, say, maybe $400 a month. Have your son or daughter chip in a little bit of extra money too. And then this $850 a month, which is your bottom line, that's your note every month that you have to pay, that's essentially covered. It's pretty great, right? Now, I know what you may be thinking, Tony, I don't have $40,000 just sitting around not doing anything. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. If you don't, consider this. Have you owned your primary residence, your home, for more than maybe 5 years? You likely would have lots of equity in your home that you could potentially take out in what's called a home equity line of credit, also known as a HELOC, that you could use to put down that $40,000 for that new down payment. Again, this may not be for everyone, but I think when you look at using that $40,000 as an investment, you'll get back at one point in time. It makes a lot more sense than just simply throwing it away to a university. Instead, in this scenario, what we're using that $40,000 for is building equity in a new home, an investment, instead of it just being thrown out the window. All right, let's look at those investment numbers in the event that you hold onto that property for 4 years or the time it takes someone to graduate college. Now, me personally, I had to stay a 5th year because I couldn't really get everything figured out straight. But let's just use 4 years for the example. Now, after that 4 years, you have a lot of options, and each of these options, honestly, they're all good, but they kind of depend on your different situation. You know, it depends on what's going on in the market at that time. That would factor in a lot. It also would factor in, what your family's needs are, and that determines a lot as well. So here's option 1. Option 1 is you keep that property and you continue to rent it out. You put 3 different new college students in there, and with that $850 a month note, and you're charging maybe $400 per student, you can maybe clear about $300 per month, and that comes out to $3,600 every year. And hey, wouldn't that be nice? Who wouldn't want to make an extra $3,600 a year or $300 a month? All right, now that was option 1. Option 2 may actually be a better fit for some people. In option 2, you go ahead and you sell that investment property. If you purchase at a price of $160,000, with an average appreciation of 4% annually. They say the national average is between 3 and 5%. Murfreesboro, Tennessee has actually been double that, closer to 9%. But for our purposes, we're just going to make it simple and use 4%. That home that was worth $160,000 after 4 years of college is now worth $187,000. All right, that's a lot of money. Now, if you were going to go ahead and sell that, you also do need to factor in realtor fees. Realtor fees are generally, the broker fee is generally around 6%. That leaves us with a take-home of $176,000. So you do the math there. What you've done is you've just made $16,000 instead of what you could have done with that $40,000, which was just throw it away to the university. It just is gone. It's in the trash. It's lost. You don't have it anymore. But in this scenario, not only do you get that 40 grand back, but you've made $16,000 off of the investment, okay? All right, and hopefully that sounds really good. But that's actually not all of the positives of this scenario. The government, yes, the federal government, has built-in tax incentives for those of us who own investment properties. That's right, because you're investing in housing and the economy, you get a significant write-off on your taxes every year. Please keep in mind, I'm not a CPA, and you should not lean on me for tax advice. Always consult your personal CPA for advice there. But essentially, speaking from my own experience, here's how it works. When you buy a residential investment property, you can take depreciation off of your taxes to reduce your overall taxable income. To find that depreciation number is what it's called. You take the purchase price and then divide it by 27.5. So we take that $160,000 divided by 27.5, and that gives us, with this scenario, an annual depreciation of $5,818. That's a write-off on your taxes of nearly $6,000. Again, consult your CPA, but real estate is known by most investors as this very good tax shelter to offset income in other areas of your investment portfolio. So if it works for them, the big heavy investors on Wall Street, California with hedge fund managers, I think you should also make this work for you too. It would be smart. All right, with that being said, I hope you've learned a lot about this today. If you have any questions about this strategy of purchasing an investment property or any comments, please leave them below. Or hey, just text me or email me. My number is 615-815-4283, or you can email me, Tony@CrabtreeHomesTN.com. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the like button. That would be awesome. Thanks for watching, and can't wait to hear from you.